trusting your intuition again. There was a time when I didn't know whether I could trust myself. I questioned my feelings. I questioned my choices. I questioned my instincts. I questioned whether I was seeing things clearly or simply seeing what I wanted to see. And sometimes I looked outside myself for answers because trusting myself felt harder than trusting someone else. But I've learned that intuition isn't something I have to magically discover. Sometimes it's something I have to rebuild a relationship with, because life can teach you to stop listening to yourself. You can have experiences where you were told you were wrong. You can make choices you regret. You can ignore your own feelings. You can trust someone and be hurt. You can misread a situation. You can let fear speak louder than your own wisdom. And after enough of those experiences, you can start wondering, can I really trust myself? I've asked myself that question. And the answer I've been learning is yes. But I also have to learn how to listen wisely. Trusting my intuition doesn't mean believing every thought, fear, or feeling that passes through me. It means learning to slow down enough to recognize the difference. Fear can feel urgent. Intuition can feel quiet. Fear often says, do something right now. Intuition can say, pay attention. Fear can create 1,000 imagined futures. Intuition often brings me back to what I actually know in the present moment. That's why discernment has become so important to me. I don't want to blindly follow every feeling. I want to understand myself. I want to observe patterns. I want to gather facts. I want to listen to people I trust. I want to pray. I want to sit in stillness. And then I want to notice what remains true after the emotional storm has settled. That's where trusting myself begins. Not with certainty, with honesty. I've learned to ask, what do I actually know? What am I assuming? What am I afraid might happen? What keeps coming back even after I've calmed down? Does this feeling bring clarity or panic? Am I listening to my intuition or trying to make my intuition tell me what I desperately want to hear? Those questions keep me grounded, because intuition isn't supposed to replace wisdom. For me, it's becoming part of wisdom. And perhaps that's why I had to go through seasons of questioning myself. I had to learn that making a mistake doesn't mean I'm incapable of making good decisions. Being wrong once doesn't mean I'm always wrong. Trusting someone who hurt me doesn't mean I'm foolish. Changing my mind doesn't mean I'm inconsistent. Not knowing doesn't mean I have no intuition. Sometimes wisdom is built through experience, and experience is built through living. So I'm learning to forgive myself for the times I didn't listen. I'm learning to forgive myself for the times I listened to fear instead. I'm learning to forgive myself for the times I didn't know what I know now. And I'm learning that trusting myself doesn't mean I'll never make another mistake. It means I know I can handle myself if I do. That is a completely different kind of trust. I don't need to believe that I'll always choose perfectly. I need to believe that I will listen, learn, adjust, and keep going. That's what makes self-trust stronger. So how do I help myself remember? I slow down before making important decisions. I create space between a feeling and a reaction. I write down what I'm sensing. I look for patterns rather than isolated moments. I pray. I sit quietly. I listen to my body and emotions without automatically treating them as facts. I check my assumptions. I seek grounded advice when I need it. And then I come back to myself. Because sometimes the answer isn't obvious. Sometimes I have to live with the question for a while. And that's okay. I've learned that intuition doesn't always tell me the entire story. Sometimes it simply tells me, look closer. And that's enough. I've also learned that trusting myself means trusting myself enough to change course. If I realize I was wrong, I can change. If I learn something new, I can adjust. If something doesn't feel right anymore, I can reevaluate. I don't have to defend an old decision just because I made it. That's freedom. Because self-trust isn't stubbornness. It's a willingness to remain connected to yourself while staying open to new information. And maybe that's the real lesson. I don't need to become someone who is never wrong. I need to become someone who is no longer afraid to listen. To myself, to reality, to wisdom, to experience, to the quiet voice inside me that says, pay attention. After everything I've experienced, I'm learning that my intuition doesn't have to be perfect for it to be valuable. I simply have to stop abandoning it, stop drowning it out, stop immediately dismissing it, stop allowing fear to speak for me, and start listening again. Because maybe my intuition wasn't gone. Maybe I just needed to rebuild enough trust in myself to hear it. Your intuition may not always tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes it simply asks you to slow down, look closer, and be honest with yourself. What is your inner voice asking you to pay attention to right now?